Okay, I guess we'll go ahead and start the call. We're going to mute everybody out. And I want to welcome everybody here. This is the Energy Industries Legal Shield webinar, a brand new employee benefit. We're going to take a few minutes to go over the coverage with you. Before I do that, I just wanted to address two questions right up front. Number one, what is it? Well, Legal Shield is to attorney fees what major medical is to hospital and doctor bills. In other words, many of the services you need most are prepaid through your membership. And number two, whom does it protect? Well, it protects you as a member. It also protects your spouse, okay? If you have any significant others, a significant other as well will protect them. Also, if you have never married dependent children up to the age of 21, as long as they still live in the home, full-time college students up to the age of 23. If you're the guardian of a child, we protect them up to the age of 18. And if you should have any physically or mentally challenged children in the home, we protect them regardless of their age. Now I'm just going to go over here on the right and just read a few questions. But before I do that, what I'd like to do is to ask everybody on the call a simple question. Did you grow up like I did thinking that a legal situation was either you were in trouble, in court, or in jail? And most people should raise their hands because that's really the American way. But wealthy people don't have attorneys on retainer because they get into trouble all the time. They actually use it for just the opposite. They use it to get good practical advice, to make good decisions, to prevent problems from happening. And that's really how our services are most utilized. Let me ask you a few more questions. Have you or any of your immediate family members had any of the following happen to you in the last few years? Have you talked with an attorney about a personal matter? And if you hadn't, would you have contacted one if either A, you knew one, or B, you felt like you could have afforded one? Have you bought or sold your home? Have you refinanced your home? Have you signed a lease on or rented an apartment, house, trailer, or personal residence? Have you bought, sold, or leased an automobile or a truck? Have you any kind of problems with your credit? Have you any disputes or misunderstandings with any merchants, retailers, or vendors over any items you've bought or purchased? Do you have any teenagers in your home? Are you divorced? Have you ever been divorced? Or do you have any child support issues with your ex-spouse? Have you or any of your family members had any moving traffic violations, such as speeding, running a red light, or running a stop sign? Have you signed a cell phone contract? Have you been questioned, detained, or arrested due to your race, age, or gender? In other words, have you been profiled? Have you been audited by the IRS? Either you do not have a will or the will that you have has not been updated. If you can answer yes to at least one of these questions, you can probably save money you're already spending by having a life events legal plan from Legal Shield. Now, just this past year, we had over 2 million requests for our services. The top 5 requests were real estate. A lot of people were looking to do a loan modification or a refinance. God forbid you have a pending foreclosure. We help with all of these areas. And traffic issues, motor vehicle violations, consumer credit, collections, family law, divorce, child custody, child support, and then estate planning. Now, as a member, you get a membership card. It's actually a privilege card. It's personalized. It's got your name on it, your ID number, and a toll-free number where you call them up. They verify who you are, the nature of your issue, and they're going to have a specialized attorney call you back and consult with you in any area of the law. Stay on the phone as long as you want. You're not charged one dime of attorney fees. And this is really invaluable. Again, a legal situation doesn't mean you're in trouble or in court. It just means that you need to get practical advice to make solid decisions. How many people here have ever had a problem with a third party? Maybe a mechanic who did some work on your car, or a contractor did some work on your home, and you had paid them several $1,000s, yet they haven't come back to finish the job, and they're not returning your phone calls. Well, what do? Well, our law firm, by the way, our law firm is the largest law firm in the United States. We have over 100,000 attorneys on retainer in every area of the law. We're going to write a letter on your behalf, okay? And that letter will carry a lot more clout than your phone call or anything else that you can do because it's written on our letterhead, and that goes to a principal. For instance, if you're trying to return a defective product to a Walmart or a Best Buy, who do you typically deal with? Customer service. And those people are good, but they don't have the authority to make a decision. And so when we write that letter on our law firm's letterhead, it goes directly to their corporate headquarters, their legal department. Hey, we $250 DVD player, just give them store credit. We got other things that we need to deal with here. Just to give you a quick example, recently I got my oil change at a Goodyear dealership about 20 minutes north of my house. I make my home in Connecticut. And it was on a Saturday. I called them up and asked them what time they closed. They said 3 o'clock, but you need to get down here. We're real busy. So it was about 1:30. I got down there. They changed my oil. Everything went well. And I get back home in my driveway, and I see that the hood of my car is not closed properly. One side's closed, the other's not. So I pop the hood, and I see that the hood stand is in a 45-degree bend. So I'm like, what's going on here? So I talked to somebody, a friend of mine who's familiar with cars, and he said, Mike, your mechanic was in such a rush to go home on a Saturday, he had actually closed your hood without releasing the hood stand. And the reason why we knew this is there was a compression buckle on the top of the hood. So I called him up Monday morning, and I told him what happened. They said, bring it down. We'll take a look at it. So I get down there. The general manager comes out. He takes a look at it, and he says, I find this hard to believe that we did this. Now, we might pay for your hood stand, but we're not paying for your hood. I said, okay, that's fine. Can I talk to the owner? He said, well, no, he's not here. He's in Colorado on vacation. I said, well, yeah. Does he have a cell phone? He said, yeah, but he doesn't want to be bothered. I said, I'll tell you what. I'm going to leave here, and if by the end of the business day he doesn't give me a call back, he's going to be bothered because I'm going to call my law firm, and I left. 20 minutes later, the phone rings. It's this guy out in Colorado. What seems to be the problem? I told him what happened. He said, look, I'll be back on Friday. Bring it down. I'll take a look at it. So I get down there on Friday. He takes a look at it. He said, look, don't worry about it. We're going to fix your hood stand. We're going to fix your hood. I'll even give you a loaner car for 2 days while your car's in the shop. And why do you think he did that? Because he knows that he can't afford to be tied up in court. He's got to run his business. Most business owners know the deal. And if he does go to court, guess who he brings with him? That's right, his own attorney. More cost. And then he's certainly not going to keep me as a customer. I'm certainly not going to refer business. So they know what's going on. How many people here have ever signed a contract only to regret it later? So you're all using attorneys. They're just not yours. If you sign a contract that was drawn up by somebody else's attorney, not with your best interest in mind, that's not to your benefit. So never again you're going to have to sign a simple contract or a simple document up to 10 pages in length without having our law firm review it first. And so they're going to go ahead and review the whole thing. You fax it in, and they're going to get with you the next business day, making sure you don't regret to something you're going to, or commit to something you're going to regret later. We actually had an employee recently called me up and said, Mike, I want to see if your services really work. So I faxed in my terms and conditions of my credit card agreement. Most of us have never read that before. And so the law firm called her up the next business day and said, this is a pretty standard agreement, but there's a couple things in here you need to be aware of. He said, did you know just by paying your bill in the third month of service, you're consenting to a rate increase from 12 to 24%? And she said, you got to be kidding. I'm canceling that card. He said, no, you don't need to do that. Just go ahead and write them a letter telling them that you don't agree to the terms and conditions. Well, the credit card company got back with her a few days later and said, we really appreciate your business. We want to keep you as our customer. Your rate will stay fixed at 12% as long as you're a cardholder of ours. And why do you think they did that? Because they know that 99 out of 100 people are not going to look at that contract. But with Legal Shield, you can do that each and every time. And then probably our most critical area of our services, we know that 80% of the people in the country do not have a will in place. And probably many of you on this phone call don't have a will either. And you're probably in the majority, okay? But the thing you have to understand is the will's not for you. It's for your loved ones, okay, especially the living will. How many people on the call have children, parents, siblings, friends, and coworkers? That's really who the will's for. If you guys remember Terry Schiavo, the woman who passed away in Florida a few years ago with the feeding tube in her, she didn't have a living will. But who did she affect? You remember her parents thought she was going to make a full recovery, and her husband said she wouldn't want to be kept alive like this, but she didn't have anything in writing, so they couldn't do anything for 15 years. It turned out he was right because she had no idea what was going on. After she passed away, they did an examination. So I have 2 little girls, and I don't want them coming home from school and their mother bringing them to the hospital and saying, hey, let's go ahead and visit Daddy today because Daddy doesn't look like Daddy's supposed to look like. And I don't want that to be the lasting image for my children. So if you have children and loved ones, do this for them. The good news is there's no cost to having your will done. We do a living will, a durable power of attorney, and a minor trust, all for no cost as part of your membership. It's about a $1,000 value alone for 2 wills because we do one for the spouse or significant other. And we will review it and update it on an annual basis. No charge for that. Probably another most often used service here is motor vehicle legal services. If you ever get a speeding ticket or a moving traffic violation, we don't want you to pay for it because that's an admission of guilt. That puts points on your record, and that drives the insurance rates up. And that's the lion's share of the cost. So if you do get a speeding ticket, no matter what, even if you were speeding, you're going to plead not guilty, fax a copy into the law firm, and we're going to give you full representation in court. Again, you don't pay 1 dime of attorney fees, and our services are good in all 50 states and even in Canada. So we have a presence in every single jurisdiction. We'll also help you on warranty assistance if you need that, contacting governmental agencies if you need that. Also, if you get sued or you get audited by the government, we help you with that. And then anything else that's not covered in these areas is covered under preferred member discount of a minimum of 25% off the normal hourly rate. Things like buying a home, selling a home. A lot of people here are calling up the law firm trying to get a loan modification done. They can't get any attention from the bank. We're able to do that. Other people are in the pending foreclosure stage, and the bank will try to get you into a short sale. That is not in your best interest to go into a short sale. Our law firm has 14 different options available to you prior to even thinking about a short sale or a foreclosure. Again, with the economy, domestic issues are on the rise. We're seeing a lot of instances with divorce, child custody, child support. We help with those. Immigration issues, starting a business. We also help with those. So the nice thing is you can get advice and consultation up front, okay, under the legal advice. Doesn't cost you anything. And if you decide to use our services, you're going to save quite a bit of money on the 25% preferred member discount. And you're going to get the best attorneys there. The highest rating you can get is AV rated. Most of our attorneys are the highest rating there, so you're going to get results. Now, what happens on the off hours or on the weekends when the law firm's closed? Well, we actually have an emergency access line where you can call them up even at 11 o'clock at night. Maybe you have a teenage driver out there who gets into a situation to get pulled over by law enforcement. Okay, they're able, or you're able to call the law firm even in the off hours, 3 o'clock in the morning. And that's if you're being detained, questioned, or arrested. If you're involved in a motor vehicle accident where there's an injury, we help in those type of situations as well, and even online legal forms. On the 24/7 emergency access, we're going to give you decals for your vehicles. And this vehicle, or this decal right here, is going to go in the window of your vehicle. So if you're driving along looking straight ahead, you want to put this right to the side on the window of the driver's side at eye level. If the police officer comes up, you want to make sure you hide behind that decal. Let him get a good look at it. And so roll down your window, and you're going to give them your license and registration. Make sure you give them the Legal Shield card that you're going to get when you get your membership kit, and let them take a look at it. On the back, it says that if you're being questioned or detained, you're allowed to call your attorney immediately. We're also going to give you 2 decals. One goes on the passenger side, same area on the window, in case on the interstate they come up on the other side of the vehicle. The other component that we have is an identity theft resolution service. The biggest misconception is that identity theft is mostly credit or credit card related, and just not true. These are the 5 most common areas of identity theft. 80% of these areas have nothing to do with credit or credit card, your driver's license. Everything associated with that is in your life is in your driver's license. And who works at the DMV, or more specifically, who works at the Bridgeport, Connecticut DMV. Now, I know you guys are from another state, but no excuse. We made national news. A couple of years ago, they arrested 4 individuals who had stolen 2,000 people's identities. They were pumping out a driver's license every 8 minutes. Your Social Security number. Everything about you is linked to your social. If somebody got a hold of that number and did a 1099 job in your name, and you got a letter saying you owe $5,000 in back taxes, now maybe you don't, but now you're going to have to take time out of your busy day to deal with something like that. Medical identity theft is the least known form of identity theft, where thieves will use your information to take out prescription drugs in your name, or use your health care insurance to have operations in your name. We actually had one woman, she had her medical information stolen, and the thief goes to the hospital to get an AIDS test taken out. I think she might have been a prostitute. She said, by the way, I'm a diabetic. Well, 6 months later, this other woman gets rushed to the hospital, has no idea what's gone on. She's unconscious. They look in her records, see she's diabetic. They actually killed her trying to save her. So these are the things you don't hear about with identity theft. Character or criminal identity theft, where thieves will use your information to turn over to police at a traffic stop, and then 60 days later, when you fail to appear in court, there's a warrant out for your arrest. So we have a lot of people who've been falsely arrested because they have something on their criminal record because of a thief. And then finally, the 20% that's credit or credit card related. Even this is a big misconception because thieves don't care about your existing credit. What they do is they use your information to take out new lines of credit. And so if you don't own a Discover card, well, who has protection on a card that they don't own? And by the way, why would a thief take out a credit card in your name if they could buy a vehicle in your name or buy a home in your name? So it's not just about credit cards, and access to an attorney is absolutely critical because you might need documentation interpreted before you sign something, or God forbid you need representation if you have to go to court. You need somebody who's not only accessible but capable. So what do we do for you? With the Identity Theft Shield, this is the second component of the benefit, we do 3 things for you. Number 1, we give the ability to pull your identity report. It's a very robust credit report, comes complete with a credit score and analysis because you need to know how lending institutions view you. And then once we do that, we begin constant background monitoring of your identity and that of your spouse because sometimes the credit is linked. And if there's any suspicious activity, we have 5 trigger points. We're going to let you know up to 48 hours after it's reported to the credit repository. And then if you are a victim of identity theft, we do Kroll, which is our partner in this, does full restoration for you. This is much unlike any kind of identity theft resolution service out there because those are administered by a bank or your homeowner's policy, which is really your insurance agency, your insurance agent, and they really can't do anything for you. They can let you know something's happened, but either they're not going to be able to help you or they're going to send you out a fraud packet, an 800 number, and you've got to do all the rest of the work, where our investigators will work towards putting your identity back together again. Now, what's our commitment? We're a full-service law firm. We have attorneys in every area of the law. We've been around 40 years. We have a 40-year history, and we're the largest law firm in the United States. We have presence in every single jurisdiction. Every attorney here is AV rated. All of their activities are closely monitored by our corporate office. And what I'd like to do right now is the company's been around 40 years, and last year they were sold for $650 million, and the name was changed to Legal Shield, and we've had presence on the TV and the internet. I'm just going to play a quick video for you guys so you can see this.
In America, every generation is born with a dream, with the notion of equality, with the freedom to make certain choices, to exercise certain rights, the right to life, the right to liberty, the right to pursue happiness. But it wasn't until Harlan Stonecipher was blindsided by a motor vehicle and hospitalized in 1969 that he realized it was money, not rights, that gained you access to our legal system. And after depleting his life savings, defending himself against something he didn't do, Harlan Stonecipher was determined to make legal protection accessible to everyone, everywhere, no matter how traumatic or trivial the situation, so that no one would ever be blindsided again. And that's exactly what he did. It was the early 90s when an idea to create a proprietary network truly changed the game. It meant that instead of hundreds of good attorneys serving hundreds of customers, now there was one dedicated law firm serving thousands of members. And instead of attorneys waiting for work to get paid, they were prepaid. The business model for legal products was turned on its head, and a whole new scope and level of service was born. What had been a good product became a great product. And now, on-call advice went from being the privilege of the few to the right of the many. That's the product we sell today. How good does it feel to be able to offer that kind of service to your friends, your neighbors, your community? Our product is something to be proud of. It has stood the test of time. 40 years and 20 million times, our lawyers have been there to protect their clients, helping our 4 million users live their lives on their own terms. Our members fear nothing. The protection of our product is total. A shield that watches over them and their loved ones, protecting their rights, their freedom, and their future. Everyone, everywhere, deserves to wake up with peace of mind, feeling protected every day, every night, now and forever, by our new company, Legal Shield. Total access, total freedom.
Okay. Now, what does this all cost? Well, here are the rates right here. First of all, we don't lock in like the cell phone companies do. The services are month to month. If you use them, you'll like them and keep them, but if you want to stop at any time, you can. So it is risk-free. There is no annual contract. In the continental United States, it's $3.68 a week for the legal, for you, your spouse, and the entire family. And if you want maximum coverage with the identity theft, it's $5.98 a week. In Hawaii, it's $4.84 a week for the legal for your whole family. Maximum coverage is $6.92, including the identity theft. So if you go ahead and take a look at your membership kit, you should have printed off an employee benefit application, yellow highlighted form. First of all, I need you to do two things for me. Number one, if you would write down on a separate piece of paper my name and cell phone number down, okay, and I've got it right here, 203-353-1954. My name is Mike, 203-353-1954. And I'm going to go ahead and put that back up in a moment. Now, right here with the Lady of Justice below her feet to the right, there is a $10 enrollment fee. You need to cross right through that, put a line right through that. Your company has taken care of that for you today. So put a line right through that. And then put down today's date and the time of day because you're covered immediately right in these areas. Fill out the yellow highlighted form right here. If you could focus your attention under mailing address. If you have an apartment, number, floor, suite, make sure you put that on the top line and your street address below it. Going down a few more lines where it says work phone, please cross out work and put cell. Cross out work and put cell because if there's sensitive issues, the attorney's going to call you on your cell phone. Jumping down to the bottom on the right here where the deduction is, per month, I need you to go cross out month and put week, cross out month and put week. All right? And then the rates are over here on the left. So it's one of these 4 numbers. Okay? And then up at the top, you're going to check at this block up here, check 1, check the first one, prepaid legal services. This is an older application, but it will work just as well. And then down here, check that all that apply. You're going to check the first box, standard plan. And then go to the last line. You're going to check legal shield. If you're taking the identity theft, you're going to check other and put IDT for identity theft in the line here, IDT for identity theft. Make sure you fill out all of the yellow highlighted portions. You're going to sign in 2 places, signature of applicant right here, and then over here for the payroll deduction. Make sure you fill out all this form because this is going to go to your payroll representative so that they can know what to deduct on here. Okay? So this is my contact information. Welcome to email me or call me for any questions that you may have. And I'm going to go ahead and leave that up there for about a couple minutes, and then we're going to end the call. So thank you, folks, for your attention and time. Okay, that wraps up the call. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you soon. If you have applications, just give me a call or email me, and you'll be able to fax them over, and we'll get you going on this. You can start to use the service immediately. Thank you, folks.